Okay, Hare Krishna. Hmm. We'll start by chanting prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We'll start by chanting Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Okay, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो
ओम नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Okay, so we are continuing our Damodarastakam series. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it last week, so today we'll cover at least two verses, 4 and 5. Um, and Damodarastakam is always very interesting. Okay, so please repeat this verse after me. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadhim va
वरं
परम देव
देवमोक्षं न
मोक्षं न
मोक्षावधिं वा
मोक्षाविधिं वा।
न चन्यं वृणेऽहं वरेशादपीह
न चन्यं
न
वने
चन्यं वृणहं
देशादपि वा।
वरिसादपीह।
इदं देव पुरनाथ गोपालबालम्
इदं ते
इदं देव
पूर्णनाथ
पूरनाथा
गोपालबालम्
गोपालबालम्।
सदा मे मनस्याविराष्टां किमन्यै.
सदा मे
सदा मे मनसि
मनस्याविरास्तां
अविरक्तं
किमन्यैः।
किमन्यै।
Okay, so what is the translation? Satyavrata Muni says, O Lord, though you can award all kinds of benedictions, I pray to you neither for the boon of impersonal liberation, nor for the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor for any such boon. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bal Gopal in Vrindavan may ever be manifest in my heart. For what use do I have for any other boon besides this? So here, Satyavrata Muni, he is in the previous verses, he offered respects, he offered prayers. And in this verse is the first verse in the Damodarastakam where he's asking for benediction. He's asking for a boon. And he's already offered prayers. And in the previous verses, the Supreme Lord, um, he has made it clear. The Supreme Lord has made it clear that he has a desire to broadcast the glories of the Brajavasis, right? It says, Tadiyeshi Tagnyeshu Bhaktar Jitatvam, that he wants everyone to know the glories Swagosham Nimajjantam Akyapayantam, that he immerses his residents of Vrindavan in Ananda Kunde. He gives them a bliss, an ocean of bliss that they immerse themselves into. And he wants to show through the pastime of Balagopal, where he's tied by Mother Yashoda. Supreme Lord can never be tied. Supreme Lord can never be caught. Supreme Lord can never be outsmarted. But still, the Supreme Lord allows himself Krishna allows himself to do this. And by doing this, what is his desire? He said, Satyavrata Muni says, that in this way he declared to those absorbed in knowledge of his majesty and opulence, I am conquered only by my pure loving devotees. So Krishna wants to broadcast this. He wants to broadcast this message. Okay. So now that being said, what does that mean? That means that the Supreme Lord, he is he's broadcasting all these glories. And he wants to broadcast these glories. Why does he want to broadcast these glories? Not because, like, some religions, they are stuck so much in the bodily concept of life that they think that unless you are born in a particular race, you are never going to be dear to God. According to them, if you're born in a particular race, you are like the chosen people. And you always remain that chosen people. That's it. Yeah, and your only hope is to be, well, first of all, some of these religions don't have a concept of reincarnation. So basically, God created you, but He doesn't create everyone equal because there's the chosen people, and only those who are born in that chosen race are superior, and others are inferior. And there's no second chance because there's no concept of reincarnation. It makes God look like some whimsical tyrant who is just who has his lackeys, his chamchas, and if you happen to be born in that, it's just like in the material world, right? In the material world, in today's world, if you're born as the son of a rich person or if you're born as a wealthy person, you got it. And if you're born as a poor person, then good luck. Or if you're born in a country that isn't so wealthy, good luck. It's nothing much you can do. So people feel now they ascribe this they say God is all munificent, God is all merciful, He's all loving. But then how is it possible that God can be loving if the concept of reincarnation doesn't exist? Therefore, the concept of reincarnation really needs to be preached. And the fact that even though Indians have some idea of reincarnation, the fact that we don't really push this, we don't really promote this, we don't really um, hammer on this point is the reason why there are so many Christians and Christian converts. It doesn't make any sense. This whole Abrahamic religion, it it lacks a lot of philosophy. There is some concept of God, so it's good to a certain degree. But it's very unfortunate that although we have this great treasure of knowledge in the Vedic texts, we have forgotten all of this, and we are overrun by people with very shallow, very flimsy philosophy. So um, now the Supreme Lord is broadcasting the glories of the Vrajvasis because he wants to invite everyone to that. So that is what Satyavrata Muni is saying. He's saying, now you said you want to broadcast. I know you want to broadcast. So Supreme Lord, I want to ask you for a benediction. What kind of benediction am I going to ask you? See, why to ask the Supreme Lord as benedictions? Because, and therefore he says, Varam Deva. He says, Varam Deva, you are the Lord who gives benedictions. Varam Deva. So here the word is used. Varam Deva, which means there is a deity of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, in Kanchipuram, very famous deity known as Varadaraj. Why? Because he's the king of those who can give benedictions. The Supreme Lord, by using this word, Satyavrata Muni is saying, the Supreme Lord, you are competent to give any benediction you want to anybody you want. Supreme Lord is fully competent to fulfill everybody's desire. But Satyavrata Muni, the poet here, the author of the Damodarastakam prayers, he is not asking for something flimsy. He is not asking for material things. Why? He's saying, Moksham na. I am not asking for liberation. What to speak of material things? What to speak of wealth, fame, prestige, high birth, having good wife, good spouse, or whatever that may be, different types of mystic yoga. I'm not even asking for liberation. Moksham na. Moksha vadhimva. And I don't even want what is greater than liberation. So, what is greater than moksha? There are four other kinds. So, generally, here moksha refers to the impersonal liberation, where the living entity goes and situates himself in the Brahmajyoti light. And in that Brahmajyoti light, the living entity just exists, knowing that he is eternal. It's not the living entity cannot, Acharya has explained that the living entity cannot forever stay in that state of liberation, because ultimately the living entity is full of rasa. The living entity needs to perform activity. Without performing activity, the living entity cannot be. You can see any living being in this world, any living creature, you will see they are active. They are doing something. It is impossible to remain inactive. And therefore, the concept of liberation, where one just merges into the Brahman, this is not a permanent situation for the living entity. He goes outside the purview of time. So, because he's gone outside the purview of time, it can feel eternal. But whenever the living entity becomes little dissatisfied with that position of just being eternal, knowing that he is eternal, then immediately he comes down to the material world. So, this is what Acharya has explained. So, now that's one kind of liberation. That's called mukti. Now, there are other four kinds of liberation. Those four kinds of liberation are found in Vaikuntha. These four kinds of liberation means getting a form similar to the Lord, achieving opulence similar to the Lord, living in the same abode as the Lord. So these there are four kinds of liberations. And this is also possible. This is only attainable by devotees. But Satyavrata Muni doesn't even want that. He doesn't even want that kind of liberation. Why? See, that kind of liberation, Acharya has explained, is called Ghana Sukha. It is intense, concentrated bliss. So you have bliss in Brahmanandam, you have the bliss of merging in Brahman. But that merging in bliss of Brahman is just the bliss of knowing that one is eternal and one is not having any material desire. Just becoming free from material desire and realizing one is eternal. That gives the bliss of Brahmananda. But that doesn't explain what is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity does not enjoy any relationship as a servant of the Lord. And therefore, that Brahmananda Sukha is actually very meager. It is not very strong. But these other four kinds of liberation, they are said to be intense, concentrated bliss. So, why is Satyavrata Muni not asking for that? Because even those kinds of liberations, they are insignificant compared to the bliss of pure devotional service. So, the Satyavrata Muni is not even interested in the bliss of revelation. He is not interested in the bliss, in the liberation in Vaikuntha. He is not interested in Brahmananda Sukha. What to speak of material happiness? Definitely, he is not interested in all of this. What is he interested in? What does he want? See, he says, Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam. That I want this Gopal, I want to see this form of Gopala balam. This form of Gopala, Bala Gopala, sada me manasya virashtam ki manyai. That I want to see this form always within my heart. This is Satyavrata Muni's prayer, that he always wants to see this form in the heart. Why? Why does he want to see this form? Because he wants to render service to that form. That Satyavrata Muni, he wants to engage in service. He gradually he's revealing his innermost desire, and therefore he says idam. So Sanatan Goswami explains that this idam can refer to the material world, but more specifically, it refers to Vrindavan. That he wants to see this form of Bala Gopal, because this form of Bala Gopal is only found in Vrindavan. It is only found in Vrindavan. In fact, in the Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, it is explained that the bliss of serving the Supreme Lord as an associate in Bhauma Vrindavan, in the Vrindavan in the material world, where Krishna manifests his pastimes in the material world, this is greater than even the happiness found in the spiritual world. So, this form of Bala Gopal, this form of the Lord as a baby, this is found only in the material world, because in the spiritual world, Krishna has his full form, grown up, Kaishora, 16 years old. Yes, Yashoda Devi is there, everybody is there, but this form of Bala Gopal is found only in the material world. Then how is it eternal? Krishna appeared and he went. How is it eternal? Acharyas explain that Krishna's eternal form is like the sun. So just like the sun, right now the sun is setting. So the sun is set here in the east coast, but in the west coast the sun hasn't set yet. Or similarly, the sun is rising. Somewhere the sun is rising right now. And then after 1 hour, the sun is rising somewhere else. So, in the same way, every minute of Krishna's pastimes are like this, are traversing from one material universe to another material universe. And there are unlimited material universes. And as one pastime in one material universe concludes, another pastime, that same pastime begins in another material universe. It's not even the form of Krishna that concludes in one and then goes to another. Krishna is performing unlimited pastimes in unlimited universes that are moving like a transcendental roadshow. It's like a transcendental, what you could call like a drama team that's moving from one place to another. But in this case, the drama team has expanded itself. So multiple form form. So it's kind of it's quite inconceivable. And not so, what does that mean? Not just Krishna, all of his associates have also expanded. How is that possible? How is it possible, the living entities? It is possible by the mercy of Krishna. Krishna can make that happen. Only Krishna can do this. These are absolutely inconceivable pastimes. Even the demigods cannot understand this. So, Satyavrata Muni prays that he wants that form. He wants to see that form in his heart. He's revealing his innermost desire. Slowly, he's revealing. Um, and so, regarding asking boons, let me share something else. Oops. Um, see. Okay. Um, yeah. So going to Srimad Bhagavatam 439:19. Right. So Srila Prabhupada writes here in the purport, devoid of Krishna consciousness is about asking boons, because he's asking a boon. So what kind of boon should we ask? Everybody goes to temple to ask boons. Everybody prays to God. The Christians have a standard prayer. Oh Lord, give us our daily bread. Like this, they pray for the Lord, for the daily bread. But Prabhupada says, why do you have to pray for daily bread? Krishna supplies the bread. Krishna supplies food for the animals and they don't pray. So why should somebody pray to Krishna for material things? Material things Krishna is providing. Krishna doesn't want that. The one who wants boon should ask for service. So Prabhupada says here, devoid of Krishna consciousness, those who engage in material activities simply become more entangled in material bondage. They have to suffer and enjoy the actions and reactions of all activity. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore the greatest boon. The Krishna consciousness movement is the greatest boon to humanity. Why? Because it keeps one always engaged in Krishna's service. The devotees think of Krishna, act for Krishna, eat for Krishna, sleep for Krishna, and work for Krishna. Thus, everything is engaged in the service of Krishna. A total life in Krishna consciousness saves one from material contamination. This is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. This opportunity is being offered by the Krishna consciousness movement. That therefore, Srila Prabhupada had so many devotees serving full time, because the point is that is our natural position. In when everybody says, Prabhuji, at the end of my life I want to go back home, I want to go back home, I want to go to Golok Vrindavan. But in Golok Vrindavan, you're not going to work jobs, you're not going to earn salaries, we're not going to do all this. So it's, of course, with right now we are in the material world, we may need a certain situation to provide for ourselves, we need money and things. But the point is, we should consider working towards a situation in life, whether it is now or it is later, if one can plan it. But at some point, one should engage 24 hours in Krishna service. And with that goal, if one has that goal that one will engage 24/7 in Krishna service at some point of time in one's life, if one is serious and sincere about such a goal, then what happens is even the interim period, Krishna will give ideas through the guidance of Vaishnavas. One can engage, that one can, even with, even though one may be earning money, even though one may be working, if it is necessary, it is needed, there is a way to dovetail it. There is a way to dovetail it. However, many times we don't we conflate what we want with what we need. So that requires guidance from devotees, that also requires a level of sincerity, and it requires some level of knowledge also to understand, is this needed or is this my greed? Is this a need or is this a greed? And if something is greed, then it will entangle us. It's, then at that point, even though you may try to dovetail it to Krishna, it just becomes a source of headache. And so the point is to have a total life of Krishna consciousness so that we save ourselves from material contamination. Why? Why to save ourselves from material contamination? Because the risk of being born again in the material world, having to suffer through birth, death, old age, and disease, this is real. We need to get out of the cycle of birth and death. This is an important thing to understand. This is what human life is meant for. If we forget this, again we go through the cycle of birth and death, and then we have to again struggle to become Krishna conscious. Now we have got this great opportunity. Prabhupada continues, as stated by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Krishna bhajane yaha hoy anukul, Vishaya baliya tyage taha hoy bhul. If one is so expert that he can engage anything, everything, or dovetail everything in the service of the Lord, to give up the material world would be a great blunder. One should learn how to dovetail everything in the service of the Lord, for everything is connected to Krishna. That is the real purpose of life and secret of success. This is very, very important. And Krishna says later, Prabhupada continues, as stated later, reiterated later in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara. Asaktyo hyacharan karma param apnoti purusha. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For working without attachment, one attains the supreme. So, Prabhupada says that the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita specifically considers material activities for the purpose of sense gratification and material activities for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. The conclusion is that these are not one and the same. So there is two things. There's material activities for purpose of sense gratification, material activities for purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. There has to be the motive of satisfying the Supreme Lord. It's not that one accumulates and one increases one's material possessions for whatever one likes, and then one dovetails it without even considering whether it is pleasing to Krishna or not. There has to be a conception of what is pleasing to Krishna. And ultimately, what is pleasing to Krishna? Us becoming pure devotees, giving up material desires, advancing in Krishna consciousness, giving up our anarthas, and growing and developing love of God. This is what is pleasing. Anything that facilitates this, that is pleasing to Krishna, that satisfies Krishna. Anything that doesn't do that is dissatisfying to Krishna. We have to mold ourselves in the footsteps of the pure devotees. So Prabhupada says material activities for sense gratification are the cause of material bondage, whereas the same activities for the satisfaction of Krishna are the causes of liberation. How the same activity can be the cause of bondage and liberation can be explained as follows. One may get indigestion due to eating many milk preparations, condensed milk, sweet rice, and so on. But even though there is indigestion or diarrhea, another milk preparation, yogurt mixed with black pepper and salt, will immediately cure these maladies. In other words, one milk preparation can cause indigestion and diarrhea, and another milk preparation can cure them. So, Prabhupada says if one is placed in material opulence due to the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he should not consider that opulence a cause of bondage. So, we are not advocating that people immediately become poor. Oh, you have money, just forget everything, go and sit under a tree, sell your house and take your family and sit under a tree. That is not what we are saying. However, when a mature devotee is blessed with material opulence, he does not become affected adversely, for he knows how to employ material opulence in the service of the Lord. So, when we become mature, we know how to not become affected adversely. So, then, Prabhupada, He says, he gives examples of many kings. And later, then Prabhupada makes the point, if a devotee is not mature, the Supreme Lord will take away his opulence. So, the secret to becoming free of all problems is to become a mature devotee of Krishna. Krishna will take care of everything. He'll take everything that we should not have, and he'll give us everything that we can have. And if we become mature, then Krishna will provide everything. And this we can see. We can see that you will not find there's so many temples, so many, every temple, there is no problem. Devotees take more prasadam than anywhere else. So much prasadam we take. There's so much opulence. So Krishna doesn't keep his devotees in want, but it is the duty of a devotee to advance in Krishna consciousness. Then Krishna takes care of other things. So in this, and then in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a prayer by King Muchukunda. So Muchukunda is a king who helped the demigods fight the Asuras. And then they asked him for a benediction after he won. And Muchukunda is a devotee of Krishna. Muchukunda prayed that he wants to sleep because he's just really tired. And he prayed for a benediction that he was very, very tired and he wanted to take some rest without being disturbed. And he prayed, and the demigods gave him a benediction saying that he will be able to rest peacefully, and whoever disturbs his rest, whoever wakes him up from that rest in a disturbing manner, that person, when Muchukunda sees him, that person will burn to death. So what happens is Krishna, he he there's a demon called Kala Yavana. So this is a low class demon. He's a Yavana. He's a low class demon, and he wanted to kill Krishna, and Krishna was not interested in killing him. He was, I use this low class fellow. I don't want to kill him. So what Krishna did? He walked into the cave where Muchukunda was present, and Krishna disappeared from the cave. He hid himself, and this demon Kala Yavana walks into the cave, and he sees this Muchukunda sleeping, and he thinks, oh, this Krishna is lying there like sleeping. So what he goes up to Muchukunda thinking that it is Krishna and gives him one kick. And then Muchukunda awakens. The first thing he sees is Kala Yavana, and with his eyes he burns him. So then Krishna reveals himself to Muchukunda, who is a devotee of Krishna and is actually a pure devotee of Krishna. How do we know he's a pure devotee of Krishna? This prayer. Nakamyenam tava pada sevanad akincha prartyattamadvaram vibho aradhya kastvam hyapavargadam hare vrinitaaryo varamatma bandhanam. So he says here, O all powerful one, I desire no boon other than service to your lotus feet, the boon most eagerly sought by those who free of material desire. O Hari, what enlightened person who worships you, the giver of liberation, would choose a boon that causes his own bondage? So an enlightened person doesn't approach Krishna for simple, useless things that are temporary in the material world, and then getting that for that person will just increase his bondage. So Muchukunda doesn't pray for, he says, I pray for the service to your lotus feet. Why? Because that is what is sought by those who are free of material desire. And what is the clue we get from this? The clue we get from this is that those who are free from material desire, they are also seeking something. But they are not seeking material things, which means that the happiness they are getting from service of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet is far greater than that is achieved through material desire. Sometimes we think that by becoming Krishna consciousness or by chanting or reading and all of this, it's all very difficult. There is no fun in this. There is no happiness in this. It's just ritual. It's just austerity. No, it's not like that. The greatest bliss is found in service to Krishna. So this is what Muchukunda is praying for. Okay, going to text number 5. So, text 5, devotees can chant, Idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nilair.
idam te mukham bhojam atyanta nilair
Vritam kunthalai snigdha raktaischa gopya.
व्रतं कुण्ठलैश्च गोप्या
Rataistagopyam.
Muhushchumbitam bimba raktaadharam me.
मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्ताधरं मे
Manasya virastamalam lakshalabhai.
Manasya virastam madam
मनः
lakshalabhai.
So here he makes Satyavrata Muni makes his desire even more clear. He says, O Lord, again and again Mother Yashoda kisses your lotus face, which is framed by locks of soft black hair, tinged with red, and beautified by your lips, colored red like the bimba fruit. May this vision of your lotus face ever be manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. Here, Satyavrata Muni says, I don't forget one benediction. I don't want thousands of benedictions. You can give me thousands of benedictions, and I don't want it. I don't want it. There is no use. He makes his desire very clear. And it's a continuation of the previous verse. He says here, Idam te vapurnata. So he starts this shloka. Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nilair. So now Satyavrata Muni is advancing. Where is he advancing? He is advancing to the form of the, he has spoken about the form of Balagopal, and before he spoke about the form of Balagopal, what did he do? The first verse he says, Namami Ishwaram. I offer my obeisances. And that Namami is always done to the lotus feet. Obeisances are always offered to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So he offers obeisances to the lotus feet, and now in the description, he has come up to the beautiful face. And now he is describing this beautiful face. How is this beautiful face of Balagopal? This beautiful face of Balagopal has two features that are highlighted, three features that are highlighted here. These features, what are these features? That Mukha Ambuja. Krishna has a lotus face, and he has this lotus face. How is the lotus face? It is very dark blue, Atyanta Neelair. It's almost black, blackish blue. And Vritam, Vritam Kuntalai. So what does he have? He has curly black hair. He has beautiful curly black hair that is surrounding his lotus face. And what does he have? Snigdha Raktaischa Gopya. And these, he has beautiful cheeks. And these beautiful cheeks are Snigdha Raktaischa Gopya, that they are kissed by the reddish lips of Gopya, of Mother Yashoda. He's repeatedly kissed on those beautiful cheeks by Mother Yashoda. And Sanatan Goswami explains that Gopya can also refer to Srimati Radharani, that those cheeks he's repeatedly kissed by Srimati Radharani. So this can refer to Yashoda Devi or Radharani. Then what? What is he saying? Muhus chumbitam. That again and again he is kissed, not repeat. It's Snigdha Rakta is kissed. How is he kissed? Again and again he is kissed. So much love. It's such a beautiful, very detailed description. Muhus chumbitam. And how is and what else can we see on Krishna's face? His beautiful reddish lips. Krishna has beautiful reddish lips. Bimba rakta dharamme. Then what does he say? Manasya virastam. May this beautiful face, may this beautiful form always remain in my heart. So, the secret to having the Lord's darshan, the face it's really where the most amount of sweetness is concentrated on the face of the Supreme Lord. But how should we approach the face? We should approach the face of the Supreme Lord just like Satyavrata Muni has approached. Srila Prabhupada says here, um, okay, going to a lecture that Srila Prabhupada spoke of in December 5, 1974. Srila Prabhupada says, Sri Vigraha Darshanam. This temple is situated to give people the facility as it is described here. Tair Darshaniya Avyavaihi Udara. We have to see the deity beginning Where do we do it? Beginning from the lotus feet, not jumping over the smiling face. We have to begin darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord. Whenever we see a form, whenever we see the deity of the Lord, or you see a picture of the deity of the Lord, first our eyes should go to the feet. Not jumping, that is the way. First of all, you try to see. And when you are practiced, try to see the lotus feet of Krishna. And when you are practiced in this habit, even after visiting the temple, if you go home, if you practice to see the lotus feet of Krishna, that is meditation. So, darshaniya avyavaihi, different limbs. First of all, feet, then the thighs, then the belt, then the chest, then you reach the smiling face. Krishna, Krishna's form. If you meditate on Krishna's form, that is Krishna. So we associate with Krishna. His smiling face, his flute, his hands, his dress, his consort, Srimati Radharani, or any other gopi surrounded by. In this way, we practice the habit of observing the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he has appeared, Archa Vigraha, so that we can see him. Skipping a little below, Srila Prabhupada says, so for beginners, it is recommended that you see the deity daily or always. How are you supposed to see the deity daily or always? Isn't it amazing? You think that Prabhupada says you have to have darshan of the deity. Or, or means you'll think, oh, daily you should have darshan of the deity. Or you will think, oh, okay, he's not going to say daily, maybe he'll say once a week. No, no, no. Prabhupada is saying either you do it daily or do it always. Always, basically 24/7. You have to always think of the deity. So basically, what does this mean? That we should at least have a picture of the deity, of the Supreme Lord, and we should see that deity. Srila Prabhupada made this a standard practice in the liturgy of the movement. Um, that's called Darshanarti. In Darshanarti, devotees are expected to come, and what are we supposed to do? Just stand in front of the deity and have darshan of the deity. That's all. There is no there. In fact, it's not. There's not even kirtan. There is a tape that's played, which is kirtan, Govindam Adi Purusham prayers, but it's a tape, and it's not an elaborate arti. If you see darshan arti, generally it is just flower, chamara, something like this, simple. You don't have lamps and water and all of these kind of things. It's a simple arati. And the focus, it's right after the Supreme Lord is dressed in the morning. It's called Darshan Arati, Shringar Arati. So we simply come to have darshan of the Supreme Lord. This is so important. It is so important. Um, one of the senior devotees in India, Radhesham Prabhu, he would quiz devotees. Um, he would ask them after they've attended darshanarti. He would ask them, "What color dress is Krishna wearing today?" The shocking thing is many devotees won't even remember. We can think of this ourselves. We go, we have darshan of the deity. If somebody was to ask us, what is the color of his turban, we might not remember. That is how poor we are in even seeing the form of the Lord with our two eyes. With the form of the Lord, who is so mercifully manifested to us in the form of the deity, when the deity is in front of our eyes, we take darshan of the deity, but we see, but we don't see. So we have to practice seeing. We have to be conscious that we are in front of the Supreme Lord. Because what happens most of the time, even our eyes are clouded by all these kind of thoughts. There is always some movie going on in front of our eyes, and it covers and this is the illusion. So we have to pray to Krishna through the agency of the spiritual master, because spiritual master opens our eyes. Om Agyan Timirandasya. See the Supreme Lord. See, and how do we see him? Srila Prabhupada says, beginning from the lotus feet, as you are practiced, then go up to the smiling face. And also here Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very important. Prabhupada is not just saying have darshan of the deity. And here Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply if you try to see and if you don't hear, then it will not stay very much. If you simply see, but there is no hearing, there is no Shravan, we can see, but it won't stay. How is Prabhupada explaining that? Therefore, we see practically in many temples, because there is no discussion about Krishna, simply a deity is there. People go for some time, then gradually, especially those who are educated, so called educated, they don't feel very much interested. It has actually happened so. Many temples, they are not even visited by devotees, because there must be hearing about. Two things must go on. Deity must be worshipped, that is called Pancharatri ki Vidhi. And to hear about the Supreme from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedic literature, this is called Bhagavat Vidhi. So Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi must go parallel. So these two have to happen. We have to hear Bhagavad Gita, we have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have to have darshan of the Supreme Lord. If we cannot go to the temple every day, we must at least have a photo, and we have to spend some time having darshan. And if you think, I see this photo every day, I'm seeing it every time I've seen it is a I'm looking at this. No, it is Krishna. The photo is Krishna. And if you look, you will always find something interesting on the photo. That is the transcendental nature of Krishna. It is true even of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. You may think you've read Bhagavad Gita, read again, and you will find something that you have never, you will feel like, I don't remember reading this. It feels new. Same purport you can try reading. Try read one purport today. Read the same purport again tomorrow. Same page you read, you will find something different. Next day you read, you will find something different. Because this is the nature of transcendental things. Material thing is not like that. You look at the iPhone, why do they have to keep updating? Now they just released from iOS 18 or something, they jumped all the way to iOS 26 or something like this. Right? So, why do they do that? And then you look at it because it becomes boring. And then, okay, some liquid glass, something they say, because whenever it updates, it gives you a rundown of how beautiful it is. 2 days later, it becomes boring. You've seen it, however, you don't need to see it again. The rasa is lost. That is the nature of mundane rasa. That we think we will enjoy, but that enjoyment will not exist. We'll think if I get $1 million today, I will be so happy. You'll get $1 million, and within few days, that happiness will go away. Just like it went away when you got your first $100. When we first got when everybody, the first time they managed to get money, it became their money. What a feeling! I got my money. Or I remember when I was young, the first time I got on a bicycle and I rode the bicycle. I was like, oh, look at this wind! It's blowing. It's the greatest thing. It's such a bliss, so much happiness. And then after that, so many times I rode my bicycle, I never even thought about it because it goes away. That happiness goes away. But we are so foolish. Punah punah charvita charvanana. Even though we've realized this, birth after birth, we've lived as a pig, we've lived as a donkey, we've lived as Indra, we've lived as Brahma, we've been born as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Indian, American, European, Japanese, everything we have been born. Still, we think there is something in this material world that I have not experienced, and I'm going to try to find that. And in spite of countless living entities in front of me failing to achieve that, this time I, the great me, will somehow be happy in this material world. This is the foolishness. It is so foolish that the living entity is called mad. It's completely mad. Lost is there, no intelligence, no brain. So, unless we hear, we will not understand. We will not recognize the glory of the deity. So, Srila Prabhupada speaks about how to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in a lecture on November 4, 1972, Prabhupada says, so this process of civilization, Krishna consciousness, means perfect civilization, perfect advancement of civilization, according to the direction of the Vedas. We do not concoct anything, any meaning. Just like why you are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the beginning of understanding Srimad Bhagavatam. The professional readers, they immediately jump to the Ras Leela of Krishna. They think that Bhagavatam means that the Ras Leela of Krishna. No, because it appears like ordinary boys and girls, they like it. No, this is the foundation of Bhagavat. The 9 cantos must be thoroughly read. Then one can understand what is Rasa Leela and what is Krishna. If one jumps at once to the platform of understanding Krishna's Rasa Leela or Vrindavan Leela, he'll be misled. He'll be misled. Just like so many rascals are interpreting Krishna in so many different ways. They are thinking Krishna as ordinary human being. So when he acts like an ordinary human being, they take him to be an ordinary human being. Avajananti ma muda manushim tanumashritam. Therefore, one should not jump. One should learn Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavatam, as recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's secretary, Swarup Damodar. Bhagavata Giya Pada Bhagavata Sthane. One who is practical Bhagavat, one who knows what is Bhagavat, what is Bhagavan, not from professional reciter who are reading Bhagavat for belly's sake. Now they are reading Bhagavatam, and if they get more money, they can become a sweeper because their consideration is money. They'll give up immediately reading of Bhagavatam. But my Guru Maharaj used to say that it is better to become a sweeper and honesty earns one livelihood than to become a false Bhagavat reader for learning livelihood. Yes, because they'll mislead the whole public. Nobody will improve. And actually, we have seen so many people, they are very much accustomed to attend the Bhagavad Saptaha, but they remain in same darkness as they were. No improvement. That is not possible. This is a very important point. What is the test of a Bhagavatam lecture? What is the test of a Bhagavatam speaker? The test is that when you sit in the class, before you sat in the class, and after you sat in the class, there needs to be some improvement. And here, okay, maybe one or two people may not, but if so many people, nobody is improving, then there is no that Bhagavad is not pure. The lecturer is not pure. He is not presenting the philosophy, because the nature, there is no difference between Bhagavatam and Krishna. And when that Bhagavatam is presented, one is associating with Krishna. When one associates with Krishna, it is impossible not to become purified. That is the test, whether one is associating with Krishna or not. Anarthopasamam shakshat bhakti yoga madokshaje lokasya janato vidvan chakre satvata samhita. That the Bhagavatam was given anarthopasamam shakshat to give up our anarthas. So this is the test of Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada says they cannot, it is not possible that they sit through the Bhagavad Saptaha. Before the Bhagavad Saptaha, they are materialistic, interested in sense gratification. After Bhagavad Saptaha, they have become more interested in sense gratification. No, it cannot be like this. So therefore, Vyasadeva has taken so much trouble to establish the Bhagavata life in 12 cantos. One has to go one after another, one after another, one after another, not jumping. Dashamaskanda, the 10th canto, is the face of Krishna. So, worshipping Krishna means one should offer tulasi on his lotus feet first of all, not jump over to the mouth or to the face. So the first and second canto are the two lotus feet of Krishna. One should begin worshipping Bhagavatam or the sound representation of Krishna by worshipping the first and second cantos. We are reading the first canto, just we are worshipping one lotus feet of Krishna, then another, then the thighs. Gradually you have to rise to the face. The 10th canto is the face of Krishna. Don't jump over immediately. Read it, but try to understand it from the very beginning. So this is how we should have darshan of Krishna. So there are two processes. Darshan of Krishna also from Krishna's lotus feet. We see the beautiful form of Krishna, and same way we hear about Krishna also by going through Bhagavad Gita, and then first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, then go up to the 10th. So this is the process, and then Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I'll stop here. We've done two verses, verse 4 and 5. Next week is the last class in the month of Kartik. And then after that, I think, right? Yeah. And then Kartik ends, I think, on the 3rd or something like that. November 3rd or 4th, something like this. So next week, I will try to complete verses 6, 7, and 8. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments? I saw something in the chat. Only Radha Krishna, or can it be Gaurnita? Any form of Krishna. Any form of Krishna. Not just Krishna. It can be Ramachandra, it can be Gaurnitai, it can be Lakshmi Narayan, but it has to be done from the feet. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Prabhuji, as you mentioned, Krishna is like I heard in the lecture that when Krishna came to this material world from the Golok Vrindavan to perform Leela, so he came, he requested Radharani, and Radharani said, "I'll come on condition that this few things I need there, like Govardhan and everything." So at that time when Krishna came with Radharani, so at that time Krishna was, because you mentioned as in this universe the Leela is already done, and but it might be possible that it's going somewhere else.
It's not that it might be possible, it is.
Okay, Prabhuji. So if it is going, so when Krishna, like, so eternally Krishna is also there in Golok Vrindavan, or
So yeah, Krishna is eternally present in Goloka Vrindavan. But the pastimes also eternally happen here It's not that when Krishna comes down from the spiritual world becomes vacant. No, that also is there. Inconceivable. Krishna has unlimited forms and unlimited pastimes, unlimited variety of pastimes, all happening simultaneously. So it's not that because Krishna descended to the material world, the spiritual world become vacant. No. So in fact, there are few multiple instances of just making it little more pleasurable. Sometimes Shastra, Acharyas describe differently. For instance, the Sri Vaishnavas, their Acharyas comment that it is not possible for the residents of the spiritual world to exist without Krishna, but Krishna has to perform his pastimes in the material world also. And our acharyas explain that both forms exist. Both Krishna expands, and there is also the form in the spiritual world, and Krishna is also performing pastimes there. And but Sri Vaishnavas, they throw a little bit of a nectarian twist. They say that the Nitya Suris, the great devotees in Vaikuntha, they are worshipping Narayana, and when they offer dhoop, so the dhoop, traditionally the dhoop is done. It's not incense sticks. Incense sticks is a modern thing actually. It's fine, but it's taken from the Chinese. But actually, the traditional dhoop is done through the dhoop holder, and then the dhoop is there, and it generates a lot of smoke actually. So when they are offering dhoop, there was so much smoke. Krishna thought, oh, this is my chance to quickly go to the material world and come back. So when the dhoop is done, suddenly Krishna is covered, and in that time he goes to the material world, and before the dhoop clears, he's back. So the Nitya Suris never realized, but in the material world, because time is, it's because things happen, just like even Brahma, he literally went for one moment and that became 1 year in the material world. So the Acharya has explained like this, but that's only to just explain the loving relationships between devotees. But the truth is, Krishna exists in the spiritual world and he exists in the material world. He exists in multiple material universes all at the same time.
Yes, Prabhuji, but yes, Prabhuji, I got it. But another question related to this is I heard in one lecture of Krishna and Prabhuji that when Uddhav went to Vrindavan to teach the gopis about the yoga, and then Srimati Radharani said that you are talking about with Krishna. Krishna is already here, but Krishna was not there.
Yeah, because Uddhava was referring to Krishna as the supreme Lord, as Paramatma. He was telling, he was advising the gopis that, oh, why are you lamenting for separation? Krishna is present in everybody's heart. So all you need to do is remember him, that he is present in your heart, and your suffering will go away. But the gopis told Krishna, gopis told Uddhava, Arey, what this fellow is coming and preaching philosophy that you have to remember in the heart. If you can tell us some way to forget about him, then tell us that. We don't know how to forget him, and you're telling us how to remember him. So they were on such an advanced stage that they cannot forget Krishna. So even when Radharani is saying that Krishna is present here, she thinks that Krishna is present. It feels like Krishna is present. This is also described in Nectar of Devotion. That these are high levels of ecstasy. In the high levels of ecstasy, Krishna is present, and Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So Krishna never actually left Vrindavan. He just didn't manifest in front of their eyes just to increase their separation. These are um, these are highly elevated subject matters that can be only understood when one understands the nature of love, of the rasas, and the intense love that the devotee experiences for Krishna. These are all very elaborately described in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Dhanyad, Dhanyad, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or um, comments?
Pranam Prabhuji, one
Yes.
question. I heard in one of the satsang sabhas that like three names of Lord Ram is equivalent to one name of Lord Krishna. So I have a question, like how is it different? Like, because Ram and Krishna are same, right? So
Yeah,
why?
they're same. Yeah, they're same. Yet they're also there is a difference in the amount of mercy that is available from different forms of Krishna. Um, Rama and Krishna are same. Rama and Vishnu are same, but they have different moods. Just like if you approach your father when he's in a good mood, or you approach somebody when they are in a good mood, you have a better chance of getting what you want. You approach them in a bad mood, you less have a chance. The same person, but you give an importance to the mood. So the Supreme Lord appears in different forms to exhibit different moods. And in the form of Krishna, he exhibits all of his moods. And Krishna is the topmost enjoyer. Krishna is the source of all the different Vishnu incarnations, including Lord Rama. Everything expands from the form of Krishna. Therefore, when one chants the name of Krishna, it is equivalent to chanting 3 times the name of Lord Rama. And one time chanting the name of Lord Rama is equivalent to 1,000 times chanting the name of Lord Vishnu. It's still the same benefit is there. They are not different, but these are just stated to help us understand the reasons of the Lord taking these different forms and the significance of them. Ultimately, even though we say that, we in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we have Krishna and Rama and we have Hari. Hari is the name of Hare can also refer to energy, but Hare can also refer to Hari, which is name of Lord Vishnu. So as a devotee, we don't overemphasize this difference. We chant all of these names. But still, just to understand that Krishna is the source of all the different incarnations, these points are mentioned. Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, looks like there's nothing. So we can end here. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all in the next class on Thursday. We also have Bhagavatam readings. So we are actually beginning the first canto from the preface on Saturday. And so we have those Bhagavatam readings in the same Zoom link on Wednesdays and Saturdays for half hour. So I request you all to kindly participate. Um, and the idea is to give taste. So we'll all take turns in reading, and then Thursday we'll have these classes. Okay, Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Yashoda Damodar ki jai,
Jai.
Damodar Arati ki jai,
Jai.
निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
Hari
बोल
Hari.
ओम
Hari
नमः
Bol.
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो